Hey everybody, it's Kira with Books to Glam Kira, and I am here to go over my mid-year freakout for 2025. I will say that I chose a portion of this list of questions for the mid-year freakout instead of all of them, but I'm sure that you can search the tag mid-year freakout to get the full listing. So the first one, and probably the hardest question to answer, is the best book that I've read thus far in 2025. I looked at this and looked at this, and the problem is, even when I get to where I'm determining my favorite books of the year at the end of the calendar year, I never name an absolute favorite. I don't even think I could name top 5 or top 3. It really depends on what I read this year, and so far this year, I've had quite a few 5-star reads. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of cheat this question, and instead of saying the best book that I've read this far, I'm going to talk about a recent favorite. So a book that I just finished last week and I'm thinking about it a lot, and that would be the new release by Kristen Harmel called The Stolen Life of Colette Marceau. If you're not familiar with Kristen Harmel, she is a historical fiction author that primarily writes about how the community comes together during World War II times to help overcome Nazis and Hitler. So she has different perspectives and different individuals that played a crucial role during that time. I read the Book of Lost Names, and I read the other one that I think is called Forest of Vanishing Stars. I gave both of those like 4, 4.5, 5 stars. So she is becoming an auto-buy author for me. This particular one was a clever take on kind of the retelling of Robin Hood. So we are introduced to multi-generational women, primarily in the storyline here. We have a mother and a daughter. The daughter's name is Colette, and they are talking about how, you know, they're living in Paris, and it's during World War II, and they feel that it is their place, as well as their duty just from the women before them, to steal from the rich and give to the less fortunate, to give to the community. So they are going through and they are identifying individuals that are, you know, Hitler supporters. And so they're stealing typically jewels of some kind, you know, watches, rings, that kind of thing. And then the funds that they receive from those, they then give back to the community, or they give to people that are struggling within the community. So really fascinating. I love kind of the sleight of hand that they're doing, just talking through how they do this. And again, Colette in this part is young. I mean, so the fact that a little girl is doing this, it's really questioning morals on what is right and what is wrong, because is she, you know, is this good because she's doing the right thing with the money, or is stealing just stealing, and that's a fact. Again, I just keep thinking about this book because not only do we have that aspect, do we have World War II, but it's dual timeline. And so that is kind of the past timeline. And then you have present day Colette when she is, I think she's like 87. And she's in America now, and how she is still doing good for the community. She's huge into volunteering. You'll find out about the specifics there. But it's really interesting how her past comes and connects with her present. So I won't give it away, but I will say I really love these characters. I love the supporting characters, and it just wraps up so beautifully for me in the end. It just makes you, it just feels like a good hug, and it makes you smile with how everything just ties together. So again, just recently came out, Stolen Life of Colette Marceau by Kristen Harmel. All right, the next one I have is the most anticipated book for the second half of this year. We as readers know that there aren't a lot that come out in the second half of the year, so this was really a tough one. In the end, I decided to pick one by an author that I've enjoyed. I know that she's not for everyone, But I've liked her books, and that would be Kirsten Miller. So Kirsten Miller, let me see, wrote The Change, and she also wrote Lulu Dean's Little Free Library of Banned Books. She has a new one coming out in the fall. I apologize, I don't know what month, I don't remember. And it's called Women of Wild Hill. I don't know the synopsis, I remember reading it, but it has escaped my mind. I've been fortunate enough to get an advanced reader copy ebook, and so I am very much looking forward to reading that. I would love to hear what you are looking forward to for the second half of this year, because I feel like I don't have a lot on my radar. I'd love to learn about more books that are coming out. The next question is biggest disappointment, and if you haven't seen my reading blog about the women of rom-com, basically, I was incredibly disappointed in the new Catherine Center book, The Love Haters. It just didn't feel like Catherine Center to me at all. And I'm not going to go into the specifics, but if you haven't seen my reading blog, go check it out. I really get into detail about just all the things that didn't work for me there. Yes, it was definitely the biggest disappointment. I thought about some other books that I thought were disappointments, like Alice Feeney's was kind of up there for me, Beautiful Ugly. But if I'm honest with myself, I went into that not expecting to like it. So to me, biggest disappointment means you had high hopes and it really fell flat. And so with that definition in mind, Love Haters is definitely the one. Biggest surprise. So this is always a fun one because I feel like these are the books that weren't on my radar at all. So and I know I've said this before, but they are ones that the publisher will send to me, ask me if I want a copy, and I hadn't heard of it, or ones that book clubs pick that I, again, wasn't even planning on reading, and I end up loving them. And so one that came to mind was Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. Had no knowledge of this whatsoever, hadn't really heard a lot about it. And this one, it was kind of interesting how this all came about, because I had a book club that picked this, and when I found out that they picked this and the date and everything, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not going to be able to make book club, you know? So I just kind of dismissed it, didn't really think anything of it. Well, my plans, I had been traveling or something, and I was going to get back just in time for book club, possibly a few minutes late. And so what did I do? I bought the audio, and again, I was traveling. I binged this on audio, start to finish in one day, and loved it. I obviously then went and bought myself a special edition copy. But I still struggle with how to summarize this. It's almost like a historical mystery, but there's definitely, there's a lot. And I think one of the things that I really liked about this, aside from I got to meet with the author virtually, she's so humble, and I love that about authors. It makes me love their work so much more. But it's that it just kept going, you know, you're like, oh wow, I'm really enjoying this book, and then bang, they hit you with something else, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. Oh wow, what a story. And it just kept going and going and going. And so it was very interesting. It's kind of the storyline of this woman who had a kind of a high school crush, and you know, as things happen, we grow up, we become adults, we go our own ways, and later on she is married, she is in the same town where she grew up, and this high school fling, this high school love interest re-enters the picture. And it's not like this, it is so much more than like the romance and the struggle there and the family drama, but there's, again, I struggle, I don't want to give it away, so just pick it up, just check it out, Broken Country. I will definitely be reading more by Claire Leslie Hall. Favorite new author. So I was going to say this for surprise as well, but I decided to put it in this category. Favorite new author for me was also a book club pick. Again, wouldn't have picked it up. Thank you, Book Friends Book Club. And that is Sarah Damoff, The Bright Years. This is just such a powerful little novel. It's less than 300 pages. And just, I'm really excited to have discovered her as a new author because I just want to read more about her. It was definitely a family drama, but it was some heavy hitting topics, adoption, alcoholism, just general struggles that families get hit with, and loss and grief. And she has background in kind of the foster care system. So I know with her working knowledge of that, I hope that she writes more about that. I'm interested in learning more. So I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. So Sarah Damoff is my favorite new author. So books that made me cry. That's the next question, book that made me cry. There's a lot. I mean, I don't physically cry a lot, but I notice that I tend to go towards more impactful books. Not like the cheery, happy books, but the books with the grief, with the loss, with the found family, with the overcoming, and that's really my jam. And so the one that I ended up going with, I actually read earlier in the year, and that is the new one by Alan Eskens called The Quiet Librarian. This is going to be a historical mystery, but it's, what am I trying to say? Well, first of all, Alan Eskens, if the name sounds familiar, he's known for writing quite a few thrillers, mystery thrillers. This is his first attempt at historical fiction within his mystery and thriller, and he knocked it out of the park. I strongly encourage him to continue to do that because he did an exceptional job. His research was spot on, and it just, man, the emotion, you just get hit with it in the first chapter. So you're sucked in, you're fully invested. It's so powerful. So this one is about a librarian who has a dark past that she has hidden. We find out that she has escaped Bosnia, and she went through a lot. She went through a lot of, I'm just gonna say she went through a lot of loss, and she really had to be strong, which, stereotyping librarians, they're quiet, they're not overly, they don't dominate situations, they're not strong, powerful women. But with what this particular librarian had in her life, it just, kind of those conflicting personalities, but it was just fascinating. So I hope he continues to do historical fiction. So again, The Quiet Librarian by Alan Eskens. So book that made me smile. So like I just said, I tend to go towards more emotional, grief-stricken novels, and I really struggled with this one. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of books that they'll have a happy ending, or when people end up overcoming their challenge, but not a lot of books that made me smile throughout, except one that I recently listened to, and that is The Ex-Girlfriend's Murder Club by Gloria Chow. Again, I did the audiobook, and this was just a light read. It was really fun. I'm actually, it was a last minute pickup. I had some time, and I loved it. It kind of has like a John Tucker Must Die feel, if you remember that in like the 90s and 2000s. But it was multiple women finding out that they were being cheated on by the same guy. And so they're kind of taking it upon themselves to get even with him when all of a sudden things turn really bad. And there's, for those of you that kind of like the podcast piece in your reading, there's a little podcast element in this that's fun. But aside from smiling, I was also like shaking my head, rolling my eyes. It's one of those kind of fun reads. So again, that's the Ex-Girlfriend Murder Club by Gloria Chow. The next one is favorite cover. And I had a few favorite covers, but I think this one in the end won me out just because it has two covers. And I know I talked about this before, but just wanted to show you again. Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. It's so pretty. Like, I don't know. I love the profile with kind of the techie computer-like elements in the background. Sprayed edges. I realize this is a cover thing, but then also, as I shared in my reading wrap-up of this one, there's a story within the story on this. And so then when you're reading Death of the Author, it's an author who's then writing kind of a sci-fi novel, and when you open the dust jacket, it is her Rusted Roots, which is the book that she is writing. So, and again, really cool. Like the eyes are kind of shiny. I just thought it was a really cool cover. I love it. So that's my favorite cover. And then last but not least, book that I need to read by the end of the year. You guys, I have been putting this off. Like, this is ridiculous. I need to read All the Colors in the Dark by Chris Whitaker. Do I even know what this is about? Absolutely not. This is a FOMO buy. I've read others by Chris Whitaker, so I just automatically picked it up. It is big. I think it's 600 pages. And so I picked this up. I got it from Book of the Month early on. I even got on the Libby request list for the wait list super early. I have lost track of how many times I have delayed my Libby hold. Like, this is ridiculous. I just need to read it. So I am determined to read this by the end of the year. Hopefully in the next couple months, but definitely by the end of the year. Let me know if you've read this. Give me some hope that I can get this done and that I can enjoy it. I mean, I was looking at Goodreads. It has great reviews. I also saw where he is going to be doing an author event in the state that I live in. So that's even more just kind of motivation, like, oh, if I could get through this and if I really enjoy it, maybe I should, go to this author event. So again, let me know if you've read this and what you thought. Hopefully that can give me some more encouragement to read this book. And that is it. Those are the questions that I decided to focus on for the mid-year freakout. Let me know what you have in store for the second half of this year. And like I said, I'd love to hear what you're looking forward to. Maybe there are some new books that I need to add to my list. All right, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon. Thank you.